Ron, good evening. It is Marcus.
Hello, how are you?
Yeah, good, thanks, Ron.
Hi, I thought I'll just share some experience that I had on the smart meter.
Yeah.
And my situation was slightly different. We were flatting, so we did not have any input on whether the meter can be changed or not. Obviously, you just pay your rent and then pay your bills. So, yeah, so it changed, and it changed a lot of things in our flat. We ended up having to move out because we couldn't deal with the price that we need to pay for power anymore.
What area was this, Ron?
I'm in Auckland now, but it used to be in Wellington, sir.
Okay. And this was a smart meter, not a prepay card. This was your classic smart meter they put in.
That's the one. Yep.
And why was it so much more expensive? Can you tell me did you get any joy with finding out why they extorted you?
Yeah. So what happened was, rang the company and I said, you know what, I think there's something wrong with the bills because we are so used to having to pay about $450 to $470 every month. It's the 4 and 5 of us in the flat, and all of a sudden it started going to like $900, $1,100. So we were not too sure what was wrong. So we called the landlord and said maybe you need to check the hot water thing and all that, and it came out all fine. So the power company said that they've caught the smart meter in and it will give an accurate reading. And therefore, after the first adjustment, that's why the price was going a lot higher than what we used to pay.
So you're saying you were getting undercharged for what you were using previously?
That's how they made it sound like, because we were like,
it certainly doesn't sound like, it doesn't sound like a good reason to get a smart meter in, does it?
Yeah, well, it's accurate, and all of a sudden the average price we pay is a couple of $100 more, because it went to 900, 1,100, and then went back down to 700 plus. And then I don't remember it going any lower because I left the flat because I couldn't deal with the price anymore. But in general, what I thought was when they had the analog meter, for it to, the usage that contributed to 1 meter, I don't know even how to explain this, like to get 1 point to take over for the analog, we can use a bit more than how much it took for the digital. Okay. Does it make sense?
Yeah, it does, Ron. It is complicated, but look, yeah, this seems to be the trend that prices are going up. So we'll take more calls on that. Thanks so much. 26 away from 9. Talking smart meters, the joys of them. I don't like them. And I don't like power providers. I don't like how you've always got to deal with them I'd like a shop with them to come around to your house, or somewhere you'd sit down on a chair and you would talk to the person for half an hour. Why can't you do that? Hello, Jen, it's Marcus.
Evening, how are you?
Good, Jen.
Just for your listeners, and possibly, and maybe obviously you, Consumer Magazine last year did a report on them, on smart meters. It's in the 14th of August issue, 2015, and it's got a lot of information there. And at the bottom of, I presume you can go online and see it. And also at the bottom of it, there's 3 very interesting PDFs that cover, that people can look at, that cover the frequently asked questions in regards to potential health effects of exposure to the EMF and all that sort of stuff. So that would be a good place to start if anyone and yourself wanted to have a look at that.
Once you looked at it, were you happy having a smart meter in your house?
I haven't got one, no.
So you chose not to have one after reading that?
Yeah, I'd heard a lot of conflicting opinion about it, and I still haven't got one. But interestingly enough, I got a letter yesterday saying they'd like to organise a time. You don't have to have one. By law, you're not required to have one. So that was good for me to know. I'm not 100% sure, but at the moment, I'm just quite happy with the status quo, because there is quite a few, questions to be asked about it. And Consumer recommended, they recommended that the electricity industry did, there's no great benefits to consumers really. It's more to the power companies because of the basic meters they install. If they were a different type of meter, you would have been able to do, lots of other things with them. and it would be more...
Jen, is there any advantage to the power companies? Can they vary the price they give it to you? Or is there anything in their bag of tricks with the smart meter that actually advantages the consumer?
I've just got it there. Let me think from it. It tended to basically be more on the side of the supplier, because it meant they didn't remote reading, and they can monitor your information. That was a big issue. They can use that information to look at power demand and stuff like that. And they made some amendments for some policies for what they were going to do. But the best thing is to have a look, and it's quite readable. It's nice and easy.
Someone has emailed me that PDF too, so I'm obviously not going to read it tonight because I'm at work, but it will be something I will look at too, Jen.
Yeah. So don't worry about sitting down with someone from the power company. You have a cup of tea by yourself.
I would like to sort out about why I've got 3 different line rentals for different rates. It drives me crazy.
Oh, yeah, that is. Okay, well, good luck.
Thanks so much, Jen. A tremendous call. Love you to pieces. The number is 0800 I think, though, my phone provider, when the lines went down in our house in a storm when the brand new baby came home and I was on hold for 2 hours to the lines company, then, in fact, I did ring the Contact. I think it was Contact. Was it Victor? One of those ones. Contact, I think. And they're tremendous. They got it sorted out straight away, even though it wasn't their job, which I thought was fantastic. So I have got a soft spot for them. 20 away from 9, 0800 80 1080. If you've been trying to get through, lines will become available before too long. It's all about the smart meter tonight. Really happy with that. The number is, the number. Hi, Danny. It's Marcus.
Hey, Marcus. I just got a word for all the people that are worried about these smart meters. The power companies cannot enforce a debt from an estimated bill. So if you don't want them to overcharge you, you just say do a physical reading, and I'll pay your bill.
Or you can read your numbers over the phone.
Hey, I'm not their servant.
No, I'm just saying you can do that, Danny.
Yeah, you can do that. I agree with you.
But Danny, with smart meters, right, everything's spot on, so there's no estimated ones, are there, with smart meters? They know exactly how much you've used.
Well, they say they do, but if you ask them to send a meter reader out, there's a variation every time.
Thanks so much. 0800 80 1080 17 from 9 o'clock. Mike, it's Marcus.
Oh, yes, good evening, Marcus. Just like a couple of callers ago, a lady said that I had a situation as well. I got 2 providers here, and I got the letter saying that they wanted to change into smart meters. And I've got a Sparky as a bit of a friend, and I consulted him, and he did say that it's not compulsory, and he also said that he wouldn't recommend it. So, And
what Mike? Did the Sparky say why he wouldn't recommend it?
I won't go into that, but he did say that he wouldn't advise to get it done. And I believe they work on a Vodafone signal, and I haven't got Vodafone coverage where I am. So I rang up one provider and explained that to them, and they said, no trouble at all. They were very good, and they said, we won't send it in. And then I rang up the other provider to suggest the same scenario, and they were quite forceful and said, yes, no, they have to go in. And they said, why do you want not one in? And backing up with the consumer thing, I said, well, for health reasons, and I haven't got Vodafone coverage, so it's a waste of time. And they were quite sort of strong about it. So I just said, oh, well, I'm not going to use you as my provider anymore. So I cut them off and went back to the one that weren't too fussed about getting one installed or not. So that was just my little story.
They reckon you can't have one with a pacemaker. Do you know if that's true?
I have heard that. No, I'm not 100% sure, no.
We'll try and get some clarification for that, Mike. Thanks so much. Gary, it's Marcus. Good evening.
Yeah, good evening, Marcus. How's it going?
Good, thank you, Gary.
Now, yes, I believe in the technology, should go forward and all the rest of it, but being in the senior bracket, on the senior net, we had a thing brought out to us to look up a website called stopsmartmeters.org.nz.
Yep.
It is very informative. Now, if you don't want one in, legally all you have to do is to put a sign on your box saying, "I do not want a smart meter."
You put it on your meter, do you? Or your letterbox?
On the little window that you got, or on the meter box itself.
Yep.
Where it can't be taken off.
Okay.
Or else lock it, put a padlock on it, because we got a letter to say we will be putting one in. And I said, well, then I looked up all this stuff and got all the info. And funnily enough, the next day a joker turned up to do it, and I said, no, thank you.
Gary, are most of the concerns on the website to do with the radiation from the signal, to do with the amount of actually data they actually gather from your house and the fact that they could on-sell it?
Yeah, well, that is a little bit too technical for me, Marcus, but I have heard that.
But why would you be opposed to it, Gary? What was your gut feeling?
The gut feeling was that the price was going to go straight up.
Yeah, okay. So it's all about price. Thanks, Gary. Really appreciate your call. Gee, there's some great callers tonight. Gee, for God, feel the love. 13 away. 0800 80 1080. I wonder if anyone's bill's gone down. What about pacemakers? What about sleep with it installed? Because I think from the consumer website, the quick look I had to it, it said there are ramifications from people have reactions to the smart meter being installed. The reactions are suggested, i.e. they're not caused, but they are real, if that makes sense. And I think it does make sense. So the actual script says, which I thought was quite interesting. I'll bring that up. In fact, I'll tell you that after this commercial break. It's 12 away from 9 o'clock. I'm Diane. It's Marcus. Good evening. Thank you for calling.
Yes, hello, Marcus. About the smart meter, just briefly, when I got one in years ago, there's absolutely no change with the power bill at all. And at the time I was on a level pay with the power company. I was just paying the same amount directly every week, which was quite good. You end up in a lot of credit. And on email, they could actually every day email you the power you're using every day, which is really good. So you could track it, and you think, oh, God, well, yeah, I didn't realise I was using that much. And so it just kept you in touch every day with what you were using.
So, Diane, it was a good thing for you?
Oh, absolutely. And also, all the time, it was showing you how much power you were using compared to other people in your area.
Well, that's creepy.
In the whole of New Zealand, though.
Okay.
And, you could just think, oh, okay, yeah, I did actually use heaps that day. So it was actually very helpful, but it only came with my level pay.
Okay. Thanks so much, Diane. Asim, hello. Marcus here.
Hi, Marcus. I just had a couple of comments about the smart meters.
Sure.
The first one was I had a friend who was from France, and she told me that in the 70s in France they used to have a red light in their kitchen, and what the red light meant was when it came on, electricity became more expensive.
That's fantastic.
Yeah, but in all seriousness, I mean, the problem that we have here in New Zealand is that our electricity is generated from a hydroelectric predominantly, right?
Yes.
So it costs the same amount to produce the electricity, whether it's daytime or nighttime.
Yes.
And all of the infrastructure that's built to provide the electricity to your home is built and designed around some peak demand.
Yes.
That occurs at about half an hour after sunset at any time of the year. So all of the costs that we have as people who are paying for electricity is based on this peak. So a smart meter to me means that you can somehow have a more advanced version of the system that they had in France in the 70s, so that if you have smart devices, they could talk to your smart meter. It could understand load going on around the country and distribute that more evenly to reduce the height of that peak.
So, are you saying there's advantages from smart meters that they haven't rolled out yet, that in the future that we will actually get cheaper power because of them?
Without a doubt.
So it's good technology?
Yeah, 100%. I mean, everything's going that way, right? Like, so all of the capacity in the line aren't being used when everyone's sleeping. The same way that you don't use your car 90% of the time. And if you had a car share program, you could make more effective use of that resource.
I guess
the whole world.
I guess what happens is the power companies, because people don't understand it very well, they don't have great goodwill. So when they actually wheel out something like this, people see it as being dangerous and them overextending their power.
Yeah, exactly. And there is a little bit of concern there to make sure that the information that is gathered is used for the right purposes. So you could imagine a scenario where a power company, if they go beyond the meter, for example, they could understand when you're using your television or when your power is being drawn by your microwave or whatever it happens to be.
Or when you're actually growing hydroponic marijuana.
Yeah, exactly. Or when you're home and you're not home, and then all of a sudden, the robbers will come round.
Well, they could leak it to the GCSB as well, too. It would all be metadata. SM, thanks for that. Val, hello, it's Marcus.
Good evening, Marcus. I've had a smart meter for ages, and I have never found the power going up. My winter one, because I have a heat pump's never been over $200. And I feel some people are probably a little bit scared of the modern technology, and they don't feel like changing. The man just came up and said, do you want the meter done? He did it, and away he went. And it saves the meter readers. I mean, we're all human. They can easily make mistakes standing on a box or just looking up to see what the numbers are. So I don't find anything different. And
I wouldn't want the meter readers to be out of a job. I mean, all the ones I've met have been delightful.
Yes, I know they are, but we're all human and they could make a mistake.
Tell you what, Val, they just help themselves to any old chair, though, don't they? It's not like, oh, excuse me, can I use that? It's in there now, grab that. Oh, I tell you what, they make their own fun. Roy, hello, it's Marcus.
Hi there, Marcus. No, these digital, or smart meters, rather, have got me worried. The old mechanical meter, which we had for about 40 years and it looked brand new, you could get a rough idea on the draw-off if you had a new appliance or you were testing something by the little spinning disc in it. And you got a firm reading from the dials.
Yeah, I'm hearing you.
You're hearing it?
Yeah, no, that's what I always do. I look at how quick it's spinning.
Yeah, well, you can't with the new ones, and they one of the reasons I wanted to change them was inaccuracy. And I said, well, what about loading the meter with a known load, and you can immediately tell the dials, you can leave it going for half an hour and you should burn an exact amount. They wouldn't hear it.
No.
And a rather curious thing, I collect a lot of junk, and I'd always wanted one of these meters in the days of gas meters when they took them out. They were very interesting things to have a look at and make toys out of them. But they've gathered up these old mechanical meters. I've tried several times. You can't get hold of one. Not for love, nor money, or theft.
Oh, because they probably because someone's probably going to reverse engineer them and work out how to stop the disc spinning and get the power for free.
Well, since we've had we haven't actually got the smart meter in the main house, but the old meters lasted 40 years and appeared to be in perfect condition. But the new ones, they've changed them twice in 2 years.
Yeah, well, that's probably because it's defective technology, like those hip transplants. Not having it, not happy about it.